Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. All right, so the schedule makers did not do us any favors, man. It is the trade deadline. Half of our team has been moved around and can't play on this day due to the fact that we've traded certain players today, and obviously they can't be moved yesterday, etc. So this matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks kind of comes at an inconvenient time for our team specifically. Because obviously this is supposed to be a LeBron versus AD, LeBron versus Giannis matchup, AD versus Giannis type matchup. But obviously, because of the way that they set up, slap dead on trade deadline day, it was a good chance that certain players would not play, and that is exactly what they've run into. Braun will not be available for this basketball game due to the sore ankle, although I think it's a sore foot. He's an older guy, man. He's been running around more than any human being ever played basketball in the NBA. So for sure, he's never actually 100%. And he's gonna sit this one out. You know, for me, just assuming he could have gone, this is fine. I have no problem with him sitting this game out for a multitude of reasons. None more than to just give the finger to the schedule makers who would even set up such a marquee matchup at such a ridiculous time. Okay, don't ever do that again. It's trade deadline day, so you know darn well half the team's going to be gutted. Don't put any marquee matchups on this day, please, NBA, please. Okay, don't ever do that again. It's bad enough you put LeBron's Brooklyn and New York matchup back to back. You know he's going to sit one of those games. I mean, it's just you're just backing yourself into a situation that I don't even imagine you want. So that's what I see there. Yet another one of those. But yeah, the Bucks are on like a 8 or 9 game winning streak. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've been up since 3 in the morning, paying attention to nothing but trade rumors, and didn't really know, or rather trade information, of course, and didn't really know that we even played the Bucks until about 9 o'clock this morning. I was like, "Are you serious?" It was one of those, and I've tried my best to try to do the homework on this team, and I've glanced at the stuff that's best I could off and on throughout the day. But of course, you've seen how much work I've been putting into this trade stuff. So studying for this particular matchup is hard to get up for, not only because of the fact that this team is on a 9 game winning streak, but because we know half of our team is not going to be here. And even if they were here, they don't know each other. So we have a window of several games that we're just going to have to give our team as they learn these new pieces and deal with whatever comes with the matchups that also are being thrown at them. The good thing is, going up against the Milwaukee Bucks, they are going to have some guys out just because of the fact that they've made some trades as well. Jordan Nwora has been sent out. George Hill has been sent out. Jay Crowder is going to be coming in, but of course would not be available today. So that's going to leave them at a slight disadvantage, I guess. But they got everybody they need to beat us. Middleton, Holiday, and Giannis are expected to be available tonight. Giannis did show up on the injury list as probable earlier this morning. I'd imagine once he finds out Braun isn't playing, he may actually want to sit this one out if there's any discomfort. But all in all, his team is on a mission. They're steaming past everybody in front of them, and I'd imagine they're going to do the same thing to our hobbled basketball team tonight, unless Anthony Davis has something to say about it. And judging by the way his body language was in the last situation we saw him in, he may not be up for it. And so I just think it's a nice night to just sit people, man. This is one of those really, really agreed upon scheduled losses. If the Lakers win this game, it'd be one of the biggest upsets in the history of the sport if Giannis were to play. Just one of those, man. Unless, like I said, unless Anthony Davis steps into his Superman bag and goes for 50 or 60 and matches what it is that Giannis is going to do, this is just a Giannis stat night. Likely to try to cross the 55 mark or something like that. Like, I'm serious, y'all. He's just going to dunk, 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 dunk. Because we've gutted ourselves of Thomas Bryant, and then the rest of our taller reinforcements are on the way. It's one of those things. They have yet to ship. So the idea, I think, is to try to lean on some guys that we know can do some things in some lineups. But I can't honestly even imagine what our team looks like, given the fact that we've made so many changes. Like, for example, no more Patrick Beverly. I guess that's what we can talk about. We've made some changes. And what you can expect to not see is Patrick Beverly, who was shipped out and will likely be bought out. So keep an eye open for that. And then, of course, you understand that you shipped out Thomas Bryant. He's going to now be with the Denver Nuggets. I think we actually strengthened a contender by doing that, by the way. That might not have been the best thing for us in terms of strengthening the field we'll be facing. But the return is great, the trade is great, but it's like, are we sure we want to give him to them? I don't know. But that's another that's another story all entirely. So you can see situations where, you've obviously shipped out Russell Westbrook as well. It's a situation where you know what he provided our team. We appreciate Russell Westbrook. We thank him for everything he's done for us. We thank him for what he's done for this league. And we know the tenure didn't go well. The last game, I thought he was one of the only guys down there that was truly trying to actually win, since the entire night was about Bron getting to 36, and then from there, it was like confetti and championships after that. But nevertheless, Russell was still out there trying to hit clutch free throws and driving at the rim, and ultimately just trying to keep the game close, for which I thought he was doing a good job of doing. But to be honest, my very own self was somewhat distracted by what it was that I was seeing, because it was just the entirety of the night, and my feelings about it just kind of took away from my focus on the game. And I think it did for everyone else too, including players. But all in all, we just saw a lot of emotion. Some good, some amazing, some not so good that night. And it just came together to make something that I think everyone is happy to have experienced and happy to now move on from. I don't think there's a single soul, including LeBron James, who isn't happy that took place. And now we've made some trades that I think everybody can be excited about, although I haven't seen anybody from the Laker Nation react to it, none of the players, which is really strange. I ain't seen no, "Oh, welcome LeBron" text, no, "Oh, welcome AD" from anybody in regards to any of these trades yet. I haven't exactly been checking for it either, but I haven't seen any reaction. So it's just one of those situations where I think people are waiting for things to be finalized. I think they have been finalized. In fact, I know they have. Vando is going to be wearing number 2. So welcoming him is something I'm looking forward to doing. I think D'Lo's going to wear number 1 again for us, so all y'all can pull out those number 1 jerseys. Didn't he have number 1? No, I thought he had number 0. I think he's wearing number 1 now. I don't remember if it was 0 or 1. I honestly don't remember. But I know for a fact, I'm pretty certain it was 1. Yeah, because we know who wore number 0. It definitely wasn't him. But anyway, we're going to move on from that. So this is what I'm looking at tonight, man. Dennis Schroeder's going to have the ball in his hands. He made it through the trade deadline. He's still a Laker. And honestly, I think he's earned that. And I think he's probably earned a contract that we're probably going to give him next season too. As long as it makes sense for us, I'm pretty sure he'll earn something multi-year, 2-year, 3-year, something. I don't know. But I thought he's played very, very well on both sides of the floor this season to start the year. He was in small ball lineups to no fault of his own. He's a flawed guy to a degree, so he had some bad nights. We had a stretch where he looked like the best player in the world. We had a stretch where he looked like he couldn't get it together for about 5 games. But overall, he's been good. And so I think that having him be the last man standing in the small ball rotation is a good thing. He's the one I would have chosen if I had to keep one, for sure, especially since he's on such a minimal contract. Someone else that we will see tonight that I didn't think we'd see tonight. I'm kind of excited about this. In fact, I'm very excited about this. Lonnie Walker. Now, I assume this means we have every intention of signing Lonnie Walker, and I hope that is the case because we've let so many guards leave. However, I look at the situation and I say, he is in a bit of a logjam with Beasley and Austin and, of course, everybody else we have at the guard spot. Christie, I want these guys to get minutes. It's not a lot of games left for the rest of the season, so some of these guys are just going to sit. Wenyen Gabriel, you're not going to hear me say his name as much. I would hope he's now in rotation with some of the forwards out, and if he does play, I'm obviously looking forward to seeing him succeed with us, and I know he can, and I'm glad we didn't trade him. But now I honestly don't know that he's going to be in a position to be needed as much as we did before because we got other forwards. AD's healthy, Vando, obviously Bamba. I don't expect to see Wenyen Gabriel as much, man. However, there are going to be times where I know we can use what it is that he does, especially when people get in foul trouble. And I would like to see him get a great opportunity just like everybody else. So as long as he's playing well, he should be in rotation because he's obviously one of our better players pre-trade. So it's one of those situations where you needed him when you were a small ball team. But now, there are going to be people going to eat up his minutes, y'all. It just is what it is. But he is a useful piece. So if we keep him in heavy rotation, we ain't gonna be worse for it. He doesn't suck. People just think he does. It's one of those situations. But anyway, Austin Reeves is back, man. I couldn't be more happy about it. I don't remember much of what he did in the last game. Didn't matter. He's just healthy. That's all that matters. Austin Reeves is healthy. Austin Reeves wasn't traded. Austin Reeves should be available tonight. And I'm guessing that means we have his money, which makes me supremely ecstatic. A lot of this is pointing toward, and this is me getting way ahead of myself, but a lot of this is pointing toward Malik Beasley walking. We picked like being a rental because at $19 million as a shooter, with all these different shooting guards on the team, I just don't see a path to him necessarily having that type of price tag on this team next year. I don't see no path to that. It's too early. For all I know, a lot of things can fall into place, including him breaking out and taking over at the shooting guard spot, which is possible. But I don't think so. Not knowing the basketball IQ of some of the guards behind him. We're just going to want them on the floor for defense. Some of those guys are more two-way than him. So I'm almost positive he's going to have his moments where he's going to go crazy. But I'm also positive he's going to do more sitting than he necessarily wants to at his price, because we got a lot of guys at that shooting guard spot that are just going to have to be in rotation. And it really is a log jam. It really is. That shooting guard rotation now. But the good thing is, as I said in the previous videos, most of those guys can play the 3 as well, and the 4 if you need them to, but you won't need them to. So it's not a problem to have. We just got a lot of wings now, but shooting guard ones, like smaller ones. So it works. It works. It's nothing that I'm upset about. You just have a lot of depth. That's all it is. Finding something cohesive, a balance, finding rotations. That's going to be another thing. Like, okay, Darvin, we ain't got your small guys to lean on. What's your instinct telling you now? And that's what we're going to find out. Who's going to be his new Patrick Beverley? Who's going to be his new, players that he leans on the most? Because at this point, that Patrick mainstay must be there piece is out of the door. And I couldn't be more ecstatic about that. He's also going to get bought out for sure if I didn't say that already. Chris Middleton, man, obviously you got to pay attention to this guy. He's back from injury. He's one of the best shooters, mid-range, three-point shooters, you name it. He's definitely one of the special ones, NBA champion, of course. I personally think that they are a much better team when he has the ball in his hands and is able to have a lot of things run through him. However, a lot of things have changed since I had that point of view, including Giannis Antetokounmpo becoming a fantastic shooter overnight or something. Dude's hitting threes and stuff last I checked. So as Giannis continues to become the best player in the world, we just understand that he doesn't really have as many weaknesses as he may have had just 2 years ago, because he's continuing to work hard on his craft and continuing to stay healthy, which is something that it just comes with who he is. So I don't know who would actually be considered a better player than him. There are a couple guys, Jokic and Embiid and KD and LeBron. It's a lot of guys that you consider. But this dude, for me, is probably the number one player in the league. This is the guy right now. And at the level he's playing at currently and the way that this team is winning, I don't know where he stands in the MVP voting, but I guarantee you he's jumped a bit over the last several weeks. So, it is what it is, man. We're going to have Anthony Davis meet his fire. And he's not really necessarily 100% back from his injury, so I don't expect for him to be ready for that. I don't even know if he's done with minutes restriction as of yet. And judging by the way he played in the last game, there wasn't a whole lot of good going on there. So the energy around that game and that Pelicans game as well, the Lakers just haven't had a whole lot to be excited about. But I think they've turned a corner, if ever there was a corner to turn, because everything that we thought wouldn't happen took place, probably twice as good as we ever dreamed it would be today. When we considered what we would need to do and what we would give out versus what we come back with, we would have been happier with less. Quite honestly, we would have been not happier. I worded that wrong. We would have been happy with less. We were ecstatic with what we got, is what I'm trying to say. And that is the most important, because really to get a triumphant trade deadline win, it goes a long way in trying to help people forget some of the mistakes and losses that we've had as well. And so I think we did some things today to help a lot of people feel good about the Lakers in front office and where they would be willing to go going forward. And if they can continue to use these type of methods that they applied today to what it is that they're building, I think they'll find they'll be much more successful for much longer. And who knows, maybe we'll find themselves to be more adaptable as things change. Because if you give yourself a foundation like we're trying to apply today, which I think we did a good job of today, then you can afford to make some of the, take some chances and do some things that maybe would otherwise be ill-advised. So I think Jeannie would be very pleased to find that with what she did today, just by giving up the pick equity that she did in the market that we're in, ever changing, which might not look like this tomorrow. Of course, the trade deadline is passed, but you know what I'm saying. I think she'll be happy that she moved when she did, with the pick, and to have held one and still have such a strong team. I don't know how Bron feels. I don't know how AD feels, but I'm happy for what I wanted us to do. This is what I wanted to see. Almost to the letter T, when you talk about the players that are brought back, I like D'Angelo Russell for us because of height. You know what I mean? Even though I think overall Fred VanVleet would have been in a little higher of a tier, I don't know that we don't have less problems in that way because we went with D'Angelo. So it's almost like I feel a little better in some ways. I'm happy D'Lo's back, to be honest with you. I really believe in his shooting ability. Watching him shoot, even doing homework on him back in Ohio State. This was somebody I said that I thought he could win MVP one day. When I was watching his now I know I don't know much about much, and people probably laughing at me when I say that, but no, at the time, what I was seeing from him was very special stuff. And if you go back and look at those highlights, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The dude playing perfect basketball for a good portion of the time, and you saw a glimpse of that in Brooklyn. And what I understand is that his numbers have not been much different than what they were in Brooklyn in the season that we're in right now. The team that we pulled him from in Minnesota kind of had all kinds of things going on around him that kind of drowned out the fact that he was one of the more consistent statistical offensive players on their team, if not their most one of the best basically on their team, consistently shooting the ball over 40% if I'm not mistaken, and doing it a lot every night. So he's developing well and kind of just sitting in the sidelines, just being consistent while they run amok around him. So I think we're getting a very refined D'Lo. And the D'Lo that I remember, who was a youngster, was a killer. Somebody who could shoot you down, somebody that had upside that made us feel great about taking him at number 2. And then he had some issues go down off the court, we know about. And from there, it just became a situation where people didn't believe in his character. But it was never an idea that you didn't believe in his talent. You understood his limitations. And those limitations were that of somebody who wasn't as athletic and didn't have strength at the time. And he's a lot stronger now because obviously he's been in the league for about 5-6 years since then. So I think it's a great time to acquire a guy like D'Angelo Russell for any team. It just so happens to be us, but we have a great role for him. And he's not afraid of the moment. He's not one of them dudes that's going to be jittery in the lights. In fact, he's the complete opposite. And we're going to have to reel him in sometimes, But that was the old D'Lo. Again, I don't know the new D'Lo, so I'm hopeful that he's become somebody so much better than that he's ready to just step into all-star status for us, which I know he has the talent for. I really know that. So, yeah, man, I think LeBron James is going to be super happy to play with this kid. I think he's going to feel real good about D'Angelo Russell when he gets the rhythm of what D'Lo does. He's going to find out exactly how talented D'Lo is. And I'm sure he knows from afar, played against him a million times. But once you get up close to D'Lo and you see exactly how accurate he can be and exactly how tight of a window he can pass the ball in, LeBron James is going to be like, shoot. Anthony Davis, some of them lobs that he's going to be able to toss to Davis. See, that's something that we're really going to appreciate about D'Lo. We're not going to lose anything in the assist category because if you need him to be a facilitator, he can facilitate all day long. In fact, he hasn't been asked to do the things that he can do facilitating the ball. So I'm excited about some of the things that we can do off the ball with Bron, with D'Lo, because you can trust him. You can trust D'Lo to handle the ball well. You can trust him to get that ball to you, and you can trust him to shoot it off a catch and shoot or off the dribble. So we picked up an elite scoring talent, a weapon of dynamic proportions. He's not going to play above the rim. Of course, we all know D'Lo's not an athletic player, overly athletic player, but that is still somebody who can do phenomenal things to you when he's feeling good, when he's healthy, when he's active, when he's in his best shape That's an all-star. So I don't want nobody to poo-poo who we just picked up um, at all. I know he's better than what we think he is. Put it like that. I know that. So that's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, we made out like a bandit there. I think we made out like a super bandit. Um, but unfortunately tonight, in this game that should have never been scheduled, we will have to face basically the best player in the league, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, man, and his minions, Grayson Allen. Who else is on that floor for them? They got a few of them, man. Obviously, Drew Holiday. Must pay attention to Drew Holiday. Brook Lopez. I don't know how healthy he is. I think he was a little banged up last time I checked. I got him on a couple of fantasy teams, but I think he has since come back. He'll be available tonight. And Marshawn Beauchamp, who I said had been pulled kind of out of rotation, but this is a game at Crypto.com Arena in LA. And I just expect Marshawn Beauchamp to get some minutes tonight and probably play fantastic, just like everybody else in our building. So expect it. I think he's going to play well. And again, Grayson Allen is just such a nice shooter, man. They're going to lean on him a little more because the pecking order on their roster has been shifted a little bit with the trades that were made today. So I do expect for him to do good things. And Bobby Portis, Bobby P, one of my favorite players out there, just a guy who can kill you, man. I hate to put it like that, but he's such a monster. He can really go for 30 in any given night. I don't know that he's been dealing with the best of health either. So that might be something we want to take a look at. But I do believe he'll be available tonight unless something changes. So they got their full team. They got the NBA champions on the floor from 2 years ago. Like, that's what it is. The guys that beat the Phoenix Suns are going to be running around against us tonight. And we don't have Bron. That's it. Don't expect to win. Don't put no money on this if you're a Laker fan. And there's nothing we can really do about it. And it's nothing we really need to complain about either, because we got reinforcements coming. And if the Milwaukee Bucks would have been scheduled to play us 3 games from now, I think we would have gave them a nice run for their money. But that's just not how this works. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what our guys can do out there. And most importantly, I guess, is there any prelude to what it is that we're going to see based on what it is that we see tonight? For example, is he going to do certain things that help prepare guys for the roles that they're going to have when other guys come in? And I don't really know what that looks like. So I'll just be looking to see what the Lakers do. It's weird, man. How do I say this? How do I articulate what I'm saying? Because I don't think there's any cohesiveness to be had, I don't expect the Lakers to be very competitive this evening. The roster has pieces just removed from it. You might have to call up some guys just to play in this game. I'm not really even sure. I'd imagine we'd see some Troy Brown, as I said, Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker. These guys should play tonight. Dennis Schroeder, they should get heavy minutes. And Anthony Davis should just get overwhelming amount of minutes at the forward and center spots tonight. When this is a Wenyen Gabriel night, obviously you would expect to see him since we're down so many forwards. So with that being said, if we lean on some of the guys that we otherwise would wish we would have leaned on prior to making the trades, probably a pretty solid team. Wish Bron could have played tonight. Now that I think about some of the matchups we have, we're going to be down some guys, but some of the guys you'd rather have on the floor are going to have most of the minutes. Now, when they get in foul trouble, I don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to be going further down the bench. And like I said, that center position is a head scratcher to me. I don't even know who's there. I really don't. Who do we still have? We gave away Thomas Bryant. We gave away JTA. We gave away Damian Jones. So there's no centers on the floor outside of Anthony Davis, which I don't feel too comfortable about, because that means you're going to be trying to lean on him in a game that's you're conceding as a loss. You should probably sit AD. You should probably sit AD too. For no other reason than the fact you're just gonna be leaning on him to try to guard Giannis on the floor with nobody else, basically. That's not what you do. Sit AD. Sit AD. Because that's a nightmare. If you're really looking at what that is, you guys, that's an absolute nightmare. You got AD on the floor for 48 minutes against Giannis? Nah, that's not what you want. So yeah, that's something I'm really thinking about. Is the roster is so depleted that you are leaning on Anthony Davis. That's not what you want. That's the absolute opposite of what you want. I wonder how the Lakers strategize this game. I wonder if they're even thinking about any of this. Because it has so much to think about. So you probably just suiting up whoever you have and just going out there and running. But there's some things to think about. If you mess around and put AD in this game and do what it is that it looks like it might have to be lined up to do, he might get hurt in this game and then poof, all of it gone just like that. Can you imagine? I hope you don't imagine that, other than to say we're going to keep from doing stuff that's going to put that in position to happen. I think sitting AD makes all the sense in the world, depending on if the roster is as depleted as it looks to be at that center position, which to me, it is. Rui Hachimura is going to be playing big minutes tonight. Can't forget about him. He's definitely getting some minutes at the 4 in place of Bron, so he'll probably fill most of that. I can see him being on the floor for 37 to 40 minutes tonight. Him, Wenyen Gabriel. That's what we got. That's our reinforcements against Giannis. So if I'm Giannis, I'll probably sit this game out too. Because if you look at what it is you're going up against, if you're Giannis, you really can't afford to send Middleton, who's fresh back from injury. You can just let him shoot 30 shots tonight. And Jrue Holiday should be able to take care of things if you're him. Because this is the night where you are running up against Wenyen Gabriel. You are running up against Rui Hachimura. And if you're the Bucks, just like what I'm saying with AD, I don't really want him running around down there with AD and the other Lakers when this is just a game that the Lakers are conceding anyway. If guys see my video, I think they'll actually do some late scratches. That's what I think. Because this makes all the sense in the world. And I do think people are probably lightweight distracted because it makes sense to be distracted. But as I really think about this, if they're thinking about it like I'm thinking about it, this is an injury risk. And you did all that you did today just to put yourself in a position to have an injury risk game that you're conceding anyway. You're sitting Bron, sit AD. And I'd have a bunch of G League kids running out there against Giannis tonight. That's what the NBA get for scheduling this game on this day anyway. Should have known better. That's what I think, man. Because, stars shouldn't even play in a game like this. They shouldn't. Let's learn. Since I'm complaining, let's learn. Don't even schedule any games on trade deadline day or the day after trade deadline day because you're going to need to clear the players. So if you're clearing the players, plus it's such a hectic day, teams can't really do anything. So I think there should be like almost an all-star break of 3 days where nobody plays at all between the day before the trade deadline, the day of the trade deadline, and the day after the trade deadline. And I know that can affect pricing because you want to see guys the night before, but this is what you get. This is exactly what you get. And if it goes as bad as my mind's eye sees it can go, then that's preventable as well by not letting this happen. So it's just some things that I see with the schedule that I think they may want to tweak. Because at the end of the day, you want to keep people healthy. You got all these beautiful narratives, and the guys roll an ankle because of how you schedule the games. There you go. So the script writers would not like that. Anyway, so that's what I got to say, man. This game, throwaway game, before it even happens. If we have a situation where our guys play amazing, I'll be super happy because a lot of our dudes that didn't get minutes all year long are probably going to get those minutes tonight. Rui Hachimura, I'd love to see him get a bunch of shots up, man. Just, follow the coach's idea of what you should do, but in my mind, let it fly because we need to see what you can do. And you're home, and nobody's down there to take any shots away from you. Lonnie, the same thing, man. Put him up, let him fly. Because this is a pickup game basically with high-level talent at one spot. Meaning, that's not true. Of course, they got Jrue Holiday and Middleton. But the point is, if you can get Giannis in foul trouble, then it's just a pickup game with some really high-level talent. So, on the other end, coming at our guys. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's what you want. But if Giannis is out there dunking every other play and doing all this Europe stuff, step stuff and all that, nobody got a chance. Let's just be real. Nobody got a chance. So that's just what it is, man. Hopefully, Anthony will give us a good portion of what we need in that regard as well if he's feeling it. And look alive, man. You did not get traded. Anthony Davis is still a Laker through the trade deadline. If I was a GM, I don't know if that'd be the case. So he should be looking alive, man. It's time to celebrate. Everybody who's here has a one goal mission, which is to win a championship for this unit this season. We made trades for that reason. So it shouldn't be no reasons we're not closing basketball games properly. There should be no reason we're not boxing out and putting good rotations on the floor once we learn what we need to, because that's not going to necessarily come overnight. But I expect this team to be a lot smarter than it was in the first half of the season. There's no excuse to be leaning on stuff that doesn't work because you don't have enough. You got enough. You got enough. You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to say. And if there's for some reason we don't have enough bigs after we bring everybody in, there's Jay Huff waiting right there, ready to give us some fantastic interior defense and some three-point shooting possibly as well. So there's no excuse for us to not have size. If for some reason anything goes wrong, we got some guys in that G League that I will be calling upon their names if for some reason we need them. I don't anticipate that though without injuries. Because these guys are good, man. We got some real good guys that can hold down the fort that are not superstars, but they ain't scrubs and they ain't regular either. Guys like D'Angelo Russell and Vanderbilt, you know what I'm saying? The Hachimura, they're not exactly role players. They're guys who should be able to help us win games if for some reason AD or Bron is out. This is not that type of night necessarily, especially without everybody. But I do expect guys to play hard, man. Troy Brown, Lonnie, Winyon, Max if he plays, Austin. I expect these guys to play hard. These are some of our favorite Lakers, and they haven't played a lot lately. So that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Whoever's playing the center position, good luck. Besides Anthony Davis, good luck. And, don't sleep on Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder's going to put up a lot of shots tonight. He has the backcourt to himself for a night. He knows D'Lo ain't in yet. So I expect him to want to put some shots up. No Patrick Beverly as well. And we're going to see how our personality of our team changes too. Ain't no Patrick down there. It's going to be a little quiet without Patrick down there. I'm telling you. We may not miss him on the court, but we definitely going to miss him off it. So, that's what I see. Things are going to be a little quiet without him. Russell, I think people will be happy with Russell ain't here. Just based on what I've seen, it's going to be a continuity and peace without Russell. But he's going to be coming back at us as an opponent, so be ready for that. He's going to want to kill us. So if he can get out his own way, he might be able to, but I don't think he can, and that is why I'm glad he's gone. Just being real. But I do hope he lands on his feet. We had some good days with Russell. In fact, some great days with Russell. But we could not win enough games with Russell doing what it is that he did. So if he's going to take himself to another team, hopefully he learns from what he did in error here, both in whatever way necessary on the court as well as in the locker room. But all in all, I'm glad he's gone from this particular situation for his sake and ours, because he did not have a good tenure here based on some things that probably I don't know nothing about, as well as some things that just look like they were put upon him by not playing well, and then from there, people reacting poorly to that. So it was what it was, man. We're out of that. 2 years of that. Well, 1.5 years of that. And we're out. Not only that, but his contract is off our books. So that's something entirely separate to celebrate. The cap flexibility that we needed is still going to be in place because of D'Angelo Russell's expiring $31 million contract. So it's not like we, overloaded ourselves and now we're not going to have that flexibility. We'll have it. And I'll say something else. If we do re-sign D'Angelo Russell, I think I'll be pleased with that, but it definitely cannot be at $31 million. We can't do that. But I do like the piece, and I'm glad he's here if he does end up being a rental. I think he'll play very well for us, and we might actually have a chance of doing something good in the playoffs. So this is a playoff team, man. If they don't make the playoffs, it's because people got hurt. That's it. If this team is able to stay healthy, they should be able to make the playoffs. All bets are off after that because the field is really, really good, man. It just depends on the matchups and how healthy you stay in the playoffs and how well you close games and do the intangible things that we talk about all season long. And if we work on those things right now and start learning our players and start locking in, because ain't no more distractions, ain't no more trade deadline coming, ain't nothing in the way. Picks have been mortgaged. There are no more excuses for anyone in this organization for not winning. Jeannie took away all of that. Rob took away all that. Rob put on his Superman cape and took care of business on the day when it was his day to shine. He don't have no more job to do right now. He did his part. None of y'all need to look at Robin Pelinka and say anything but thank you. Now it's about putting ourselves in a position to take what it is that he's given us and do right with it, Darvin Ham. Now it's your time to shine. You made a lot of mistakes in the first 50 games of this season. We also understand that we were making mistakes as a franchise. The point of this season, up until this point, was to get him to that 36 mark that he got a couple days ago and pass up Kareem and have that beautiful, very lucrative day that we just had. Jeannie pocketed that. Everything went well. Now, can we get back to winning? Can we get back to what matters? Because the first half of the season was all about bullcrap that led up to this. because we knew we needed to do all of that, and we couldn't win until we did this. Now we've done this. Can we get back to winning? I know tonight ain't that night. This is an L. Nobody's going to even argue with that. If we happen to win this game, it'll be amazing. We need it, but we can't have it. So no problem. That's how we approach it as fans. And the players go out there and fight their heart out. But as far as like everything else, after today, when guys come in, when all the jerseys are put on, when all this press conference is done, when the first practice is over, can we get back to winning? Because we ain't done a whole lot of winning since 2020. Pandemic. And it's 2023 right now. Can we get back to winning? That's all I'm asking. Because we've been waiting for this for a long time, and we're in a position to have a full team. We're happy about that. But if they don't win, it don't matter. So that's what I have to say, man. Jrue Holiday's coming home. He's from Los Angeles. You know he's going to want to have one of his best stat lines. He's more than capable of doing something Hall of Fame-y tonight. Just know it. He's more than capable. It's highly likely. He's going up against Anthony Davis, his old running mate of like 10 years. So you know he's going to be wide awake for that. So just be ready for Jrue Holiday. It's coming. Also, what else, man? Grayson Allen shooting. Giannis will probably launch about 33 shots tonight. Over 40, depending on the score. The score probably won't be that high, though. Well, the score might be high as heck. But as far as how long he'll be on the floor based on the fact that it might be a blowout, yeah, that kind of thing. That's what I'm trying to say to you. But the score, he scored 154 points not too long ago. Had a couple games where he scored upwards of 140 points as a team. The Bucks can score. They are one of the best scoring teams in basketball. So, given the fact that they have everybody, including Chris Middleton down there, I'm pretty sure their intention is to make light work of us. They are. Their intention is to tear us apart. So, we just got to bear witness to whatever it is it's going to be tonight. Our guys got to play hard. We're going to root for them. But unfortunately, we're just so far outmatched on paper. You can't even really feel. You can't feel nothing but just preparing yourself and brace yourself for impact. That's what it feels like. Hopefully Giannis will sit. Hopefully AD will have the game of his life. And if that happens, we can win. We can win. But if nothing like that takes place, then we're just going to play hard, man. And let the chips fall where they may. That's what I say, man. We've won games like this before, too. But it's just understanding that who's on the floor against you knows how to beat you. He knows how to win. So that's what it comes down to. So, yeah, man, we're going to give you something at the end of this game. I'm going to try to get a nap before this game and then get back to you guys about it all afterwards. So that's what I have to say. BDL44. I thank you all for watching.